Yo, what's up, guys? My name is Oliver Hayes. This time on Zoom with Harrison Simeon. He's actually in Las Vegas right now, and we're here breaking down the first day of the Pac-12 tournament, specifically the Buffs versus the Ducks, and a historic beatdown. You were there, Harrison, so let's get your first thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, the game is a few hours out now. It's not quite an instant reaction. So I've had a few hours to sit on just how badly, like I've been writing my recap. It just came out on the website. And every time I look at a different stat, I get more and more amazed on how this game happened because it just looked like we were playing a high school team. Like it, it I mean no offense to the Ducks because I mean they've had some positives this season. They have talent on the team. It's not a team full of scrubs by any means, but it was just what the Oregon coach said, the worst day to have their worst day.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, I was able to listen to his presser after the game as well. So it was pretty interesting hearing from that kind of perspective after a loss of that magnitude. But CU 79-30 final score, least we've given up all year, least points given up by any team in Pac-12 tournament history, and lowest field goal percentage as well. It was only like 18.9. It was actually like 11 at one point in the third quarter too, which was
Yeah, no,
kind of
it
insane.
it was really surprising. I mean, just keeping track of it the whole game, and it was kind of funny because after that first quarter, even though that was I mean, that was probably one of the best first quarters in Pac-12 tournament history, if not the best. But then, of course, in that second quarter, I think there was one basket between the two teams for the first like 5.5 minutes, and I was like, you know
Yeah,
what? Like, is this like a record of some sort? And that's when I started my count for it, and got the fact about the fewest points and a half, and then everyone was looking for fewest points and fewest field goals and all that stuff, and it's just wild. I mean, looking at the 3-point percentage being 8%, like 1 of 13 from three. Like I shot that in intramural game, and I thought that was alarming that I didn't make more
yeah.
shots.
I tweeted out that the JUCO products that were those Scobuff Sports and Trent's friend Mike intramural basketball team that was 0-3 and didn't win a game, had to forfeit our playoff game, could have had a better offensive performance than Oregon today. It was that bad because they had decent looks.
Mhm.
It wasn't like they were all contested or that the Buffs were playing otherworldly amazing defense. It was
Yeah.
just the fact that they couldn't make anything. And it wasn't even like they were rimming out. They just couldn't hit the basket. There were air balls. There were balls that just went way too far. Um, a lot of them are in the mid range. I was the one worry I had about today was if Oregon would make a lot of threes. They didn't until they were down by 40.
Yeah, they only made one on the day. Which is just crazy to think about. Um,
And go ahead first, because I guess I don't have too many more thoughts considering how lopsided it was, but you
yeah,
can go
no,
ahead.
I was just gonna ride your point that it really just seemed like that for like, I mean, that first quarter, like the Buffs were playing, like the Buffs can play. I mean, offensively for sure. Forget how many they scored in that first quarter.
26.
26, yeah, but yeah, no, I mean defensively, it was like okay because I think Oregon only turned the ball over 2 times, and so there was just a lot of missed shots, and so you're like okay, some decent defense. And I think there was only one basket at the rim, I think, or one or two baskets at the rim. I think the others were free throws, and then just after that, it really seemed like Oregon's confidence was just completely cooked because that's when it seemed like those air balls were starting to happen and I mean both teams started turning the ball over more in the second quarter. But I mean the Ducks specifically, and it really just seemed like that first quarter happened and then the bad day just continued to get worse and they allowed it to get worse. It didn't seem like there was really any I don't know, any way that they're gonna come back from that and that they I don't know, were kind of just mentally out of it after that first quarter. But that leads me to kind of asking you, unless like you already have a point, but I want to know what it was like being inside that arena and kind of, feeling what the warm-ups were like before the game and then kind of just seeing the energy of the two teams as the game unfolded.
Well, I really like to see CU, I mean, we were very loose in warm-ups. We were very happy. They had like a dress rehearsal, I guess, or like a audio sound check of the halftime show, which was a cover band for the Spice Girls. And they were doing like, if you wanna be my lover, like that song and stuff.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the team was dancing, they were going along with it. The vibes were very high and didn't seem like a team that had lost five of their last six games, including their last game being an upset loss to a team that just got first rounded in the tournament, in Washington State. They were, very joyous, and it really was a whole team effort. I mean, I'm pretty sure every member of the team that wasn't a red shirt was on the floor at some point tonight. Shalomi Sanders included, Sophie Gerber, all that, just because of how much it was. I mean, there were Michaela Johnson minutes in the third quarter.
I mean,
Um,
there were a lot of Michaela Johnson minutes.
yeah, I mean, she actually had the most shot attempts of anyone on the team somehow, just because she was kind of putting them up at the end.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I saw that, but
yeah, and the only worrying part of it was that Charlotte Whitaker got hurt with
mhm.
3 minutes left. Game's long over, and then she just rolls her ankle. Kind of a
Yeah.
freak thing. JR said she'd be fine. Didn't really clear up whether she'd be playing tomorrow, but either way, I think Brianna McLeod is played her best basketball of the year the last time we played Oregon State, albeit in somewhat garbage time when we were trying to like come back, like desperately come back. And Charlotte played great today, so that's a big loss.
Mhm.
Her mid-range game has been a real revelation in this season, particularly. Um, and just her ability to work within the flow of the offense. With McLeod, it's kind of rough to see her play offense at times, but she's a really sound defender, and I think that would be important for us. But expect a lot of netty minutes if no Charlotte, and I hope to see a really good performance from her because she only scored 2 points today, and we won. We scored 79. Like she didn't even play otherworldly great. She was really good in rebounding again, and just completely shut down Filipina. Shoot, I'm forgetting how they pronounce it, but Kie
Yeah,
of Oregon.
I forget which.
But
But
I guess on the topic of like how bad they were in the first half, they had 4 points in the second quarter.
yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen. I didn't watch it happen, but Washington State had 4 points in the second quarter too today.
Hmm.
They got
That's crazy.
they got thoroughly beaten by Cal. And so now Cal looks to be an interesting team, building some momentum into their David versus Goliath kind of matchup with Stanford, which we would play the winner of if we're able to beat Oregon State tomorrow. But I think overall, just an awesome, awesome win to build as much momentum as possible as we possibly could have built today, into Oregon State, and to be able to see a lot of the starters not play too many minutes and wear themselves out before a game of that, you know, importance.
Yeah, definitely. And you already touched on Charlotte Whitaker, so I need to ask you about that. You did that pretty thoroughly in talking about Brianna McLeod. But one thing, I didn't necessarily want to, I guess, ask you per se, but one thing I wanted to point out, that I felt like I noticed, and the announcers for the Pac-12 network kept pointing out, was just how well the Buffs were working out of the mid range today. Not even necessarily like shooting it, even though they made some mid range shots, but just kind of getting the ball within the flow of the offense and be able to work out a triple threat there and get some kickouts, to just create driving lanes. And I just thought it was quite interesting because, like, you brought up Charlotte Whitaker and her performance, but just the way they were kind of able to space the floor, because it really seemed like Oregon was trying to give a lot of space, at least when it came to Jalen. Um, and I don't know, at times I was kind of like, oh, like, is the offense going to become stagnant? But as Colorado started moving the ball and getting that action and that mid-range level, making Oregon actually have to step up and allow and create some pressure. It allowed, yeah, like I said, driving lanes to open up, and I thought that was really interesting. Um, and so I was just wondering, do you think that's going to be another thing that Colorado is going to try and capitalize on tomorrow, or do you think that was really is kind of a game by game thing?
I think it's game by game to a decent extent just because Oregon plays so heavily in zone. that we can just pick it up apart very easily when someone is a little bit out of position, someone like when it's not executed to perfection. We did a really good job of moving the ball. I think it was our third straight game against Oregon where we had 22 or more assists, which is awesome. I mean, the last time we played, we had 32, which is our best since the 90s. And I asked JR about it, and it seemed to just be their plan seemed to be very reliant on the fact that they play a lot of zone, versus Oregon State where they play very tight, very physical man defense. So I think there's parts of today that you can absolutely bring into tomorrow. Um, just I like to see Quay really be aggressive early on. She really set the tone today. I think I had 8 of the first 10 points. And Jalen also having so much impact without having to do a whole lot. I mean, she was plus 40 today in 14 minutes.
Yeah, that's
And
wild.
I think she had only had 9 points, maybe missed one shot, 1 or 2 shots, 5 rebounds, 8 assists. And now she's second all time in assists. Weird day, because I mean, there's a lot of history made too. Frida, like they brought her in the fourth when we were already up 30. She hits 3 threes in a row, does a Michael Jordan stroke, and it's like they're almost like bullying them at this point. I
Yeah,
think she may have been brought in for the simple fact of that history being a factor, because she's now second all time in 3 pointers made for CU, and only
and
a few away from being the all time leader.
I think I saw, I could be wrong, just because I'm thinking back to a random tweet, but I think Quay Miller also got her 900th rebound on
It may
the
have been 800th.
800th. Okay, I know it was up there,
Mhm.
but just
I only think she had one, so maybe it was just that one rebound. She's at 79, 799. Because she only played 14 minutes too. I
yeah.
mean,
I
I think
mean, because
Aaronette, um, Aaronette, Jalen, and Quay all had 14 minutes, and the
yeah,
most minutes on the team had was Frida with 22.
yeah. No, I mean it was pretty wild. Just I mean, yeah, seeing that much of the bench, uh, just with
It
how
was
big the margin
that's what we
was.
needed.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly what we talked about yesterday on the pod. Just how I mean, Colorado need to come in and take care of business and give their starters as much rest as possible. Um, and yeah, really just the only thing that everyone's talking about, the only blemish is the Charlotte Whitaker injury. But hopefully it's all good news. You want it to be good news anyways. Whenever it comes to injuries and human
Yeah.
health, uh, but yeah, no, the only really downside of today. Um, Everything else seemed to be great.
Yep. And we'll be
But
at Washington, Arizona tonight. Tips off in about a half hour. Utah, Arizona State, maybe. We're not sure yet. But we'll see. And it should be a nice night of hoops, especially that Washington, Arizona game. I know I talked about it being kind of a really hard game to predict.
yeah,
Um, I like Arizona and Utah tonight, but I could see it going to Washington. Not really Arizona State, but you never know. It's been a wild year
yeah,
with a lot of
definitely.
ups and downs, and today was one of the biggest ups in probably since, I mean, just in terms of domination. Somehow, since that Lemoyne game, the second game of the regular
Yeah,
season, I think that's the last time we beat a team by this much. Or maybe it was Kentucky in Paradise Jam, but
yeah. Either way, that's back in November. So,
yeah.
but real quick before we go, you still got a few more days in Las Vegas with the tournament and whatnot. But I just want to know first impressions after day one. Just the Pac-12 experience, everything that's going on, the whole environment, just yeah, everything.
Well, it's my first time in Vegas. I and I've honestly kind of enjoyed it. If you look past the slot machines every 2 steps you make in especially in this hotel is the lobby is insane. Me and Roberto kind of got lost just looking for the front desk, just because of the Hershey store and the roller coaster and like the 10,000 restaurants and food courts. There's multiple Starbucks in one lobby of a hotel. That's just kind of insane. Um, and the MGM Grand was actually really cool too when we walked through it. A little more spaced out, but still very, very Vegas, very, need you to gamble. But I won't be doing any of that, thankfully. Unless I wanted to get back the money on the flight and hotel that I had to pay for out of pocket. But overall,
But
pretty good, pretty good.
that's good to hear. I mean, I don't know, all Vegas things and all stuff that I remember, from going to see Summer League and over the past few summers, and then all stuff that I'm gonna see when I'm out there next week. So yeah, nothing too surprising for that description, but I'm glad that it's been fun so far. So so yeah, well, I think that's it, quick reaction. Not much to really react to just because of, the dominating fashion of that win. But but yeah, I'm Oliver Hayes.
I'm Harrison Simeon.
And as always, you heard it here first. Peace.
See you tomorrow.